Today, I'm here with Laura Fowler, who is a wealth coach and a business mentor, and she's from my neck of the woods. You're going to love talking to her because we have a very similar mindset about lead generation and how building your business can actually be fun. You can be healthy and wealthy and have all the things. Thanks for being here, Laura.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to be here.
So the very first thing I want to bring up, you're from Maryland. Well, you used to live in Maryland, and now you're in California living your best life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was in Maryland. I grew up in Maryland, and I was in Maryland until 4 months ago.
And the weather is much better there right now. Where it's after Thanksgiving, it's gloomy here and it's beautiful there. Is it beautiful there today?
It's beautiful. It's sunny. I have palm trees in my backyard, so I'm loving it. It's super funny because I always made fun of people for being cold in California because like we're Marylanders and we're tough, but they have a different kind of like cold here when it gets cold. You just don't expect it.
Wax you upside the head. Okay, we're going to start right off because I think, have a commonality, and we're kind of drew to each other because we don't feel like you have to hustle and grind. So I wanted to ask you a little about your philosophy in lead generation and getting business as a real estate agent, especially as a mom, because I know you coach some real estate agents and you have a background in real estate. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I love real estate. I love real estate for moms. I love business for moms. And I built my business probably similarly to how you built yours is all of my clients are referrals. I'll say 99% of my clients are referrals. So I focus a ton on my sphere, on the people that are in my inner circle, and on repeat business. And the interesting thing is I came into real estate from being a real estate appraiser, which is a very isolating job. So I didn't have a huge circle of people when I started in business. So I got really on purpose when I started in real estate and using things, and I know you speak about this too, that I love in my life to create business. So my first year in business, most of my deals came from a running club that I joined. I joined a meetup. There was probably like 50 people that ran together, and I didn't really sell that I was a real estate agent, but naturally when you're running for, 3, 5, 8 miles, you're talking to people and what you do comes up. And so I became known as like the real estate agent in the running club. And, someone wanted to buy a new construction and it kind of started there. Then I helped them. And then there was feedback that, oh, I was really helpful and that was amazing. So I got other deals from that. Also, from my gym, I go to the gym, I do yoga. So from all of the places that I exist already, I started to gather business. And I think it's really important to remember that we can, within our normal lives, run and feed our business. We don't have to go out. For me, it was always the message of you have to wake up at, 5 a.m. You have to, by 7 a.m., be done, 2 hours of calls. You have to go down the list on your phone of like through your A's, B's, C's. We've probably all heard these messages, and it just like turned my soul. I was like, I am not calling everyone in my phone and asking them if they know anyone looking to buy or sell a home. It just felt so icky to me. So this just felt like a really genuine, fun way to be me and allow being me to build my business.
I'm all the way behind that.
Yes.
I have to ask, so when you're doing these fun things for yourself, which you use running club in the gym, but it could be anything.
It could be anything.
Were you like, I'm a realtor who needs to buy or sell real estate the whole time? Or were you just you?
I was just me. And in normal conversation, it comes up, right? Like if I'm meeting someone, almost everyone asks what you do, like at some point in time in the conversation, especially over the course of getting to know someone over time. And so it just becomes like a knowledge fact. Like yoga, I did a number of deals within the yoga community that I was a part of in Maryland. If you're a mom, maybe it's just like through like PTA. If you do martial arts, maybe it's through that. If you love to run happy hours, maybe, create some like happy hour events in your life and invite the people that you know and just have fun and be you. And part of you is being a business owner. And if that business is real estate, then that's just a part of who you are, right? So instead of, trying to put yourself into a hole that it doesn't, a square peg into a round hole, making yourself do something that doesn't feel good, figure out what feels good to you. If you love cold calls, go for all the cold calls. Like that's great. I just don't. There's no part of me that wants to do anything like that. It doesn't feel aligned to me.
I love it. And you built the trust and connection just from being you, and in whatever you were doing, they would want to work with you because they liked who you were at the core because you were doing stuff with them.
Yeah. So then, of course, you follow up, right? You stay in touch with people once they've connected with you. I think that's like a huge thing in the real estate industry. We get a little nervous, like someone calls us, or at least I do, like even today, like someone calls and I'm doing something else. And it's just like, oh, I have to remember to call this person back. I have to remember to build the relationship and take the steps once they've opened up to you that, they're interested in buying, selling, investing. And then you deliver amazing service. And that's how you get repeat clients. So, it's getting the leads. That's one piece. And I know a lot of us get stuck on like, oh, we have to get leads. But it's also like then nurturing that lead, because not everyone wants to buy today. And, it's showing up for them in their best interest. I don't know if like that's talked about enough in real estate. It's not always just closing the deal. I've had leads that have closed 6 months, a year, 2 years. I've had clients who are amazing and like it's a very quick and easy deal. And I've had clients who like have struggled and it's really not their time to buy yet. And I stand by them in that decision. And if their time to buy is a year from now, and that's fine. Like we need to do what's best for you, because I want you to be so freaking happy in your house, because this is a commitment, right? You're buying the biggest thing you've ever bought. So my number one is that you walk away so happy with everything that's happened, even though we can't control every part of the process.
And you just get more business and more business.
Yes. So I get a lot of referral business. I have, we all talk about like connectors, there's the people in your life you want to super nurture because they enjoy connecting you to others. They have a friend who says, I'm looking to buy a house, and they're the ones who are likely to say like, absolutely, you 1,000% need to meet my realtor. And I'm a connector, so I understand that vibe. If someone calls me and say, I like my sink is leaking today, I'm like, oh my God, I have a plumber. Like you need to talk to this person. So there's people who just naturally enjoy doing that. It's not right or wrong to be that person or not be that person, but those are your people to really like sink your energy into after the deal. I mean, I'm around for every one of my clients after the deal, but we all know this, right? There's certain people that are just the ones.
Well, we don't all know this. That's why you're here, right? Some people don't know this. So what do you do afterward to appreciate your people?
So I also stay in touch. I use send out cards. I know you send out cards. I think send out cards are amazing because you can personalize them. So any form of personalized connection that fits, right? And so I stay in touch randomly when I see things happen on Facebook. I touch base and say, hi, like I saw your kiddo graduated. I saw that you got a promotion. I saw that you went to the Bahamas, whatever the thing is, something personal. Anytime anyone refers to me, I send brownies through send out cards, which is actually why they're my favorite, because it's super easy just to jump in, like create a card, send a little gift. And to me, that doesn't feel like any kind of violation of anything around how much you can spend on gifts and all of these things. And it's just a thing I just know that I do. And I do that as soon as I get a lead. So it doesn't matter if that lead goes anywhere or doesn't go anywhere. And at closing, if someone gives me a lead and they close, I then do a donation for them in their name. So there's certain like organizations I donate to. So then they get that at the end that says, a donation was made in your name to this organization locally in Baltimore. I choose ones that, are dear to my heart, but you can, choose whatever feels good to you. And then I do an event once a year. So once a year, I invite all of my people, and I've done brewery events. I've done events in the park. I've done, like a Star Wars movie premiere where I rented out a movie theater. So I kind of rotate it depending on the vibe of what I'm feeling that year. It's a little random, but I think it's really fun to, even if they don't come, just for them to have the invitation and the connection. And at the event, I do a toy drive and I ask them all to bring one toy, and I donate all of those toys to a local shelter. So, there's a lot of like pieces that kind of weave in of just staying in front of them and letting them know that you're there for them in whatever way feels good to you. So if you're not an in-person person, come up with things that don't require being in person. If you love being in person, do those things. So again, in a way that fits you and your personality, because those are the people you're going to attract. They're going to get you and your vibe. And that's why they're working with you.
You've tailored it all around who you are and like your strengths and your priorities is what we talk about all the time. But a lot of people don't do that because they are fearful, because they've been told so many times, you have to do it this way. You have to cold call. You can't sustain by relationship, all the stories that they've been told. And you and I'd mentioned like you work a lot with stories and changing your mindset and fear and all that. What do you see are the biggest hangups for people, preventing them from getting to the wealth stage, preventing them to getting to the success stage and beyond, and how you change them?
Yes. Well, I I mean, all of us have different stories. So like just as a quick background, we develop these stories often when we're young. Sometimes they're not even stories, the things that we are afraid of, the places that we have doubts often about ourselves, the places that we're afraid that we may not be able to show up the way that someone else is showing up, and we start comparing. So really the first step is to just start like being aware of what those things are. And, as they come up for you, writing them down, kind of acknowledging them, and starting to think like, are these even things that I believe in my life when I have doubts about myself or my business, or when I hear this message of, only the 5 a.m.ers succeed. Those are the people that make money. Like, but why? Let's start to get really curious, because why do I need to be up at 5 a.m.? This was a thing that was really huge for me in real estate because it's such a huge message. And I kept thinking, I'm not a type D. I was told by a coach, because I'm not in the disc profile of type D, I'll never succeed in real estate. And because I won't get up at 5 a.m. We'll say can't, won't, whatever word you want to use, get up at 5 a.m. Like I'll just never succeed in real estate. And I had a mentor who I love, and I actually still follow him. I've just learned to morph the way I look at him, who is up at 3 a.m., who has everything done by like 8 a.m. And I spent so much time feeling behind. Like I tried to do the 5 a.m. It just didn't work with my schedule. When I was first, in real estate, my family just has a very late night schedule. It didn't work with the way that my life works. So the curiosity is at 5 a.m. you get up because you want to have solo time. You want to have time where you're not interrupted. And so for me, the time that I'm not interrupted was after when my daughter went to bed. I almost just said kids, but I only have one kid. After my daughter went to bed. So what's the difference? What's the difference if I have 5 to 6 a.m. of quiet time, or I have 10 to 11 p.m. of quiet time? There's no difference. So I just started to think what's underneath of the concept, and let's start to build that into my schedule. So, okay, I need time to work on my business. That could be any time during the day. Like maybe your kids nap, from 1 to 2, that could be your quiet time. So starting to adapt some of the concepts where the concept is good, but it doesn't have to be by the rule that someone else made. And then thinking about, like I had a lot of fear around like, am I good enough to build a business? Can I figure this out on my own? I've never had like a clear 9 to 5, but I come from bartending. So bartending is a thing. And I started thinking, well, what skills do you use in bartending, right? Like you use a lot of person to person connection skills and building relationships with people because you want to have return business, because you want them to enjoy their experience. Well, that ties right into real estate. So thinking about like, what do you have in your arsenal that maybe someone else who's a perfect type D in real estate, who's going to be like, cut and dry type A, maybe they don't have that. So this is a skill I have that, other agents don't have in the world. So starting to personalize it to you. So getting curious and then personalizing it to you. And then just, like I said, acknowledging it and starting to rewrite some of those stories. So, and I do it in the way of curiosity. What if you are good enough to create everything that you want in the world? What if you decide that you want, to have a business where you work 4 to 6 hours a day or a week? How do you create that? What would that look like? If you knew that was possible, if I said to you to right now today, like 1,000%, you can have whatever business you want, what could that look like for you? And start to put those pieces into place and trust that it can all fall together.
So awareness, and then rewriting the story for yourself, seeing your own strengths, because we know comparison's a huge thing. We think, oh, I'm not that, like you're not the D, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You still have something. And with the 5 a.m., we both know that 5 is arbitrary. The 5 a.m., there's nothing important about the 5 a.m. It's about the purposefulness of the time, which you address. So don't let
it's kind of a joke. I tell some of my clients sometimes when they're like, well, the early bird gets the worm. And I'm like, but who wants the worm? Like, I don't want a worm for breakfast. I'm not a bird.
True. I see we have some kids playing out here. Those are my kids and their cousins.
Awesome.
Yep. It's fun seeing them out there playing around. They're on the ninja course right now, I think. Okay, on to we got the stories. We're like actually making money, right? We got to the agents to believe in themselves that they can do this and built a business that's around their own priorities and their own strengths. They got some money. You were saying then they like dish it out and they don't really have any purposefulness with the money. What is your big suggestion for building wealth after they get the money?
Oh my God. So I love this idea of getting on purpose with your money. So one of the things that, in my backstory, I was a single mom, I was bartending. I talked about little pieces of it. I raised my kiddo. She's an adult now. And I didn't make six figures for a lot of my business, but I was really on purpose with what I was doing with the money I was making. And so I've built multiple seven-figure wealth in my life. So this is one of the reasons why I why I'm a wealth coach, why I call myself a wealth coach. And I work with women on really internalizing this idea that we get to have a wealthy life, which is the money, but also so much more. So I know you speak about crafting this life that kind of your business can hold. So letting your business be part of your life, but not become your life. And as you're doing that, so step one, start to visualize, what do you want your life to be? Do you want to work less time? Do you want to work full time? Do you want to own your home? Do you want to rent? Do you want to have times? Do you have a family that you want to spend time with? Do you want to be able to travel? So start to peg down all of these pieces of things that you want in your life, in your future life, and create a vision board or a journal page, or just, have it in your mind, whatever way you process best, but get it somewhere into some cohesion of what you want your future what life to look like and how you want it to feel. So the feeling piece is really huge. I have a lot of clients who get really stuck on I'm not sure exactly what I want. I have little pieces of it. That's fine. Hold on to those pieces. It'll start to blossom and grow as you see those pieces come together. But the feeling is really important. And so one of the feelings for me was freedom. I like to have free time. I like to have space. I like to be able to be me. And so once you have this vision, we kind of know our priorities and our values based on what we're wanting to create in the world. Those are the things we want to lean into with our time, our energy, and our money. So with your money, starting to think about as money is coming in, because it will, if you start showing up in your business and you just shine as you, money will start to come in. What are you doing with that money? So we don't want to end up in a place where we've spent the money before it comes. This is so common in real estate. And for multiple reasons. Because then money's always just going out the door, but it creates a lot of pressure on your business, a lot of stress in your business. If you're like, oh my God, if this deal falls through and it doesn't work, I can't pay for this thing I already bought. I can't pay the mortgage. So that may be where you're at now, and that's okay. But we want to move towards getting out of that place by every time money comes in, starting to take sections of it, knowing we have to pay taxes. We want to pull some money out for taxes, right? We want to pay ourselves. So we want to start creating some savings so that we're creating an emergency buffer in our business. So our business has some money so it can weather ups and downs, because in real estate, we have seasons that are crazy busy and we have seasons where things slow down, and we want to be able to ride that with ease, not being stressed oh my gosh, the interest rates are going up. What's even going to happen? What if I don't make any money, right? We want to be able to weather it. So imagine a world where you have 3-6 months of business expenses and life expenses, maybe a year put aside, and you're just solid. Your family is solid. So we're building towards that slowly, even if we're only starting with $20 per commission, right? Whatever it is that fits you. And then kind of having an idea of where your money is being spent in your normal life. So once you've paid your taxes, once you've put aside some money, think about in your everyday life, is your money aligned? If I believe that time with my family is most important, is my money going to places that support that? Reinvesting in my business, reinvesting in myself, events for my kids, their activities. If I believe that travel is, vital to my soul, am I putting aside money every month so that we can have, or I can have this epic vacation that I want to have at the end of the year or in 2 years, and take my family and do it in ease and be able to turn off my phone while I'm working because I have everything set up and my, virtual assistant is monitoring my clients and I can just enjoy. So what is the thing you want? Start building that with every single commission check that comes in. Don't wait, once I've hit 6 figures, or once I'm making this, or once I have this. Start now.
That's a big hiccup and a hurdle for people. It's once I want to address something that you said a little bit earlier. You said about the feeling, which is something I super believe in the business plan, because everyone says, well, you have to know your why. Your why is that's not the same as addressing the feeling. Can you just hit on that a little bit? Why the feeling is so important? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, the feeling is so important. Because so I talk about feeling wealthy to be wealthy. And so we can't snap our fingers and decide like I'm in whatever state I'm in now and I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, right? But I can decide that I'm going to feel like the feelings I want to have, that I want to be a millionaire. So like I want to have money. I decided really early on, watching my family struggle with money, watching my mom cry over bills, that I did not want any of that business, right? I wanted to understand money better so that I could live a life where I was at peace, where I could do the things I wanted and not have to like sit down at the end of the month crying over bills. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how my mom lived her entire life and died not feeling like there was ever enough money. She lived and died in this struggle and this kind of not enoughness and was never able to heal it. And so like one of my missions in life has been to like end that generational trauma that I can see going back in my family. And so part of that is the feeling like, she had enough, like there were times when she didn't, but there were times when she did, but she was never able to feel like grateful and happy that she had 3 kids, that she had a job, that she had enough to pay the bills on most occasions, that we were never, kicked out of the house. And so leaning into that feeling is so important because it starts to like really change your mood. It feeds your soul. It allows you to start to believe in the possibility, because the goal of, retiring early or having a 6-figure business or whatever the thing is, for most of us is, I want to feel safe and secure in my life. I want to know that I can handle this and take care of my family. I want to build something really cool and amazing. I want to have free time in my day. We're building towards something. So what is your something? It is different than the why. And then start practicing feeling it today. So for me, mine was freedom. So I love to travel. Obviously, when I first started working and didn't have a lot of money, I couldn't afford huge trips, but I could make sure that I did, once a month, I would drive down to Chesapeake Beach and go to the beach. It was an hour away, and just go take the day off completely, take my kiddo and hang out with friends at the beach. And then that developed to like going to Ocean City, Maryland once a year and making sure like we rented a really nice beach house once a year and taking some friends and hanging out there. And that developed into like, well, this year, let's go to Hawaii or Spain or Italy. And, at this point I travel a lot, like sometimes too much. I was just like, maybe I need to stay at home. But it's a joy that I have. And it started because I really like sunk into that feeling of, I love the feeling of trying something new, of being at the beach, of being an adventure. And so how can I pull that into my life, no matter what my monetary place is right now in the world, like whatever I can afford. So, for you, whatever your goal is, if your goal is to like be at home with your kids as much as possible, take an hour out of your week and go do something with your kids, turning your phone off, turning everything off, and just get into the mindset of like, yeah, I want this thing here where I'm like, can do it all the time. But right now for this hour, I get to do it. And so I'm living that goal and that dream and that feeling today, right now, because that's possible. It's possible to start to feel wealthy and live wealthy, even as you're becoming wealthy.
I got goosebumps when you started talking about your mom and you go to the beach, you reinforcing that how big of a part do you think the mindset is part of all this? Mindset or skill? Like what's the bigger?
I think that they intertwine, but I think the mindset is the bigger chunk. And I know it's like, if you're in the place of like not having the mindset yet, and I was in that place, you're like, no, that's not true. Right. I remember like seeing people and being like, well, that person is just different than me. Like, of course they can just mindset it there, but I just need to know a thing. There's some secret I don't know, but there is no secret. And most of us out there, like some of us are tweaking some of our skills and we're learning some strategies that fit us and make sense. And that's amazing. But there will be a point, if you're not there yet, where you know enough to build your business and your brain will still tell you often that you don't. So a huge piece of it is stepping into the belief of like, I can build this thing. I know everything I need to know, and I will fill the gaps if there are things I don't need to know strategically or contract wise, or, like how do you run an event? How do I split the costs? What do I do there? Like there's those pieces, but the biggest piece is you every single day starting to believe that you can do this thing. And that's one of the reasons to have a coach, right? And I know you do this with your people too, is because your coach believes in you. they hold the belief as you build it. And so that's one of the things I do with my clients is I believe in them until they believe in themselves. Like, I think that's one of the biggest parts of coaching is building that belief. And so, yes, we come up with strategies
that they can't see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we do the deeper work. Like if a story comes up and it's just repeating and gets really stuck, like I do somatic work with my clients because I believe that we hold some of those stories like in our body. And the mindset piece is just so huge. That's the biggest breakthrough that you can have in your business. And if you don't believe me to now, come back and watch this in like a year or two and be like, oh yeah, they were both right. It's the mindset piece.
And that's why like $20, what's $20 going to do for me? But it's the $20 and the little trip to the real quick beach. That's just a day trip. Cause correct me if I'm wrong, it's reinforcing your brain. Like this is possible. And I like this, and this can be done. And this is a small increment, but lead to a bigger one.
Yeah. It's building the habit. It's building the habit, and it's building the mindset that I am a person who does this thing, right? I am a person who goes on vacation every year and gets to travel when they want to travel. I am a person who can turn off my phone and have time with my kids and just enjoy them. I am a person who saves money and builds wealth. That's the thing that you're enforcing. You're rewiring the identity of who you are from who you are today based on like kind of just the rush of the world and society, what you've become to who you want to be. And, we're doing it piece by piece because we can't just giant leap into it. Most of us, I mean, some of us do, but we're doing it piece by piece. I built my business when I first started working a second job. So I hadn't fully let go of the identity that I'm like a struggling bartender, but I was like, but I'm going to start also building this identity of like, I'm a business owner and I'm a CEO. And then I slowly transitioned myself out of that from one into the other. But decide who you want to be and start building it, because it's all possible. If you commit to yourself and to your dream, you're a living example. I'm a living example. There's lots of examples out there that you can do your business your way. You can build your wealth your way, and you can live a freaking amazing life if you just decide, and then you do the steps.
Decide's a huge word. And you've also used the word "and" a lot in what you've said. And I just want to make sure it's clear that everyone knows this isn't an either or. It's not you can be successful or have a great family life. You could have a great family life or be wealthy. It's an and. It is an and. You can have
it is an and people don't tell you that. So, I mean, and is a huge thing for me. I love that you brought that up, because even in the healing piece, even as you're starting to change that mindset, I work with my clients a lot on duality. We have to be able to hold the duality of I'm in this place and I'm building to this place. Like both get to be possible and exist. I'm super excited that I have one client this month, but I'm sad that I don't have 5. You can have both feelings. And so they both get to have, credit and space in the world. So lean into the excitement of everything that you're doing. And yeah, also know and these are the things I'm working towards. We can have both pieces going on. And I think that's a game changer for a lot of people, because we think we're either successful or we're a failure. But what if that's not even a thing? What if there's never really success or failure? It's just wherever you are, and learning to love where you are in the place that you're at. Be grateful for the things that you have created. Look back and see all the things you've done, because I guarantee you there's a long list, and look forward into what you're creating and what you're still building towards. So we get to live in this duality because we're amazing humans with these amazing brains that get to hold all of these pieces. And we have all of the things we've done, which for every single one of us is a long list. We have what we're doing now and how we're being now, and then we have what we're becoming. And so all of those get to exist in the world today. And I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but I honestly believe we get really stuck in we're behind, but think of all the things you're ahead. Stop forgetting everything you've already done. Sit down and actually write down, what have I accomplished in my life? What am I proud of in my life? And put it on the wall, because it's just as important as the things you're working towards, the things that you have already worked on.